And we're live. Or at least it says we're live. With 28 people watching. Good afternoon, everybody. And welcome to Blue Marble.
Good afternoon, good evening,
and morning here.
It is a beautiful Tuesday afternoon in Knoxville, Tennessee. Sun's out, birds are chirping.
sounds very picturesque.
Yeah.
We've had rain, strangely enough.
Really?
Lots of it. Bloody hammering it down earlier on. When it gets to the point where you're driving at motorway speeds with the wipers going full out and you're thinking, I'm going to slow down, I can't see anything.
Were you down in London today, Farmer?
Yes, I was down in southern London today, so yes, that was black skies all the way back home, and that just kept the skies just keep opening up, and it's like, oh, it must be British summertime, it's raining. Still, never mind.
Well, it can't be summertime yet over there.
Well, technically, it's summertime because we're on British summertime.
Yeah, I know, but I have it on good authority from my father that spent 3 years over there during the war that summer's only one afternoon in July. So
yes, we haven't had that yet, so you're absolutely right. It can't be summer. And given the accommodation a lot of those guys had to be in whilst putting up with all of our various seasons over here, my sympathies.
Yeah, I know.
Especially during the winters that just get sort of very cold and wet and damp and grey and bloody horrible. And if you're not from that sort of climate to begin with, I could imagine that would come as quite a shock.
And the Rumpus has joined us. Hello, Rumpus.
Hello, Blue. I made it this time.
Well,
you're on time.
It wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't Baby's fault. It was my fault. I screwed that up.
Well, Baby, he DM'd me that he was making his presentation at 9 p.m. yesterday.
Yep.
The day before. But anyway, it's a cock-up. Never mind. It's not that important. Well, actually, I did rearrange my whole evening to do it, and then I was making a big meal, and then I was shatting. I was knackered from the previous day, so after I'd missed an hour of the damn thing, I must admit I had a nap instead. I was relaxing watching the television, napping off while watching the television because I had a big meal and everything, and I was I made the idiotic mistake of making a big meal. But anyway, no harm done. I watched the presentation anyway, so yes, it's really good. I thought Baby was going to repeat the one he did on Bev's, but in fact he made one that actually Bev would probably have had a chance of understanding. I think Bebby. Sorry, Bebby, but I think Bebby thinks these Bevites have a brain cell between them that's functional, and oh no, they don't think they understood half. I think I've discussed with Bebby by DMs. They don't understand half of what Bebby's saying, and I'm thinking I'm going to get Bebby and I to do a little discussion about basic logic and predicate logic on my channel or something in the near future, because I think there's so many misunderstandings. I think even actually there was quite a lot to absorb even from Bebby's thing yesterday that is worth reviewing anyway. And I'd like to know. And I think you're trying to do something particular today, Blue. But I've got a couple of. I'd like to draw some Venn diagrams and things of what Bebby was describing about something I wasn't aware of until he mentioned it. This exclusion of this middle term in his Aristotelian logic. I would like to represent that graphically so that people can understand it fully. As well but after you've done whatever you're proposing to do for this hangout.
Oh no, that's fine. That's quite fine. I'd love to see you guys go through that.
Oh, great.
I was really sort of following on with what we were talking about yesterday. Anyway, is the thumbnail probably gave away, right? Because that's the flaw in graphically represented in Bev's logic to begin with.
Yes, I'm glad Bebby did actually tackle how to answer Bev's problem, and that this difference between all and a horizontal is the crucial thing. And the fact that Bebby's made it explicit. The trouble is, it's still a little bit embedded, I think, in logic, and I don't think it's absolutely clear to the Bevites the dramatic conclusion of Bebby's presentation that they have yet to show, as you stated yourself, Blue, and other buff farmers did as well, that you have to. The thing you have to show is that all horizontals are parallel, and they didn't do that. All they immediately you start using words you're familiar with, and this is the thing that I also might go into later if I'm an attack with Bebby perhaps, is that this thing what logicians do, they're only worried about the logical validity of the argument inside. The bits after the premises. You've got this premise. You can have premises black is white. And a logician like Bebby could still do wonders with that and come up with a 79-point argument that was perfectly valid based upon that premise. But of course, it's bollocks.
Yeah. Black is white, therefore 2 + 2 = 4 is valid.
Yeah.
Yes. And so the logicians are only worried about what they do. Once given feeding, it's like a function. You could think of it like a block diagram with a function. You can have all these inputs into it. And the logician's only interested in the functioning inside the block as being valid and producing the right answer. If all the inputs are true, then you've got to say, well, the output's got to be true as well. But it doesn't matter what these inputs are. They could be anything, and they could all be invalid. But all that the people like Bebby do is just
they could all
sure.
they could all be false. Valid is a property of arguments. Truth and falsity property of the premises or propositions.
Yeah. So Bebby in the logics he's presenting is all to do with the correct functioning of the block. You can think of as all the premises going in, and out must pop a truth. If all the things are true, then out must pop a truth. So it's only that engine that you use that he's trying to sort out the actual what's going on. And the trouble is with Bev and things, is they see these words horizontal and vertical in their head. They're doing what Bebby highlighted. They're missing out this middle term business, which I wasn't aware of, but I realised there was a thing missing, but I didn't know what it was called. That you can't in your head just say, I understand myself personally what I think horizontal and vertical. You've got to explicitly put it in your premises. And of course they didn't do that. They just have this link in their head, these relationships. And Bebby demonstrated that you actually have to go and stick it in the explicit argument, these connections between things to get the answer you want. You can't just say, I know what I think horizontal and vertical are doing, that horizontal doesn't change and vertical doesn't change over multiple horizontals. You've got to put that in the argument. They just don't do that. They don't realise there's that missing link. But and anyway, so later when more do you want to do this in? But I'd like to just show some of Bebby's examples in a graphical form. What this thing I wasn't aware of, this middle term elimination, what that actually means. And it's really easy, because some people, I think yesterday when I saw Bebby's presentation, some people weren't quite sure what this elimination was. And I think Bebby can correct me if I'm wrong. Though I'm never wrong, but I can make her say this is something I think is the case. When I say I'm not wrong, that's when I say this is definitely right. What I can say is I think this might be the case. And I'm allowed to be wrong in that regard. So if I say,
we shall see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
So and then Bebby can then see if I'm.
Be
my
very
position.
careful making claims like that, dear boy.
I do. Well, yeah. Well, I'm usually quite careful. Is that if I say this is the case, then that one I'm prepared to stick with. But if I say is this the case, or I think this is the case, I'm prepared for that to be wrong. So I'm going to go with some graphical representation of what Bebby did yesterday, hopefully. I haven't drawn the diagrams, I'll have to do it live. And then hopefully Bebby can say, yes, that is what the elimination of the middle term is all about.
Well, get on with it, Rumpus.
What do you want to do this, Blue?
Oh yeah, that's fine if you want to.
Oh, okay, sorry. All right, then. Okay, we'll have to start drawing then. Okay, right. I should have prepared this. I must admit, I was.
Here we go. Go.
Sorry, farmers.
Fucking machine. Hang on a minute.
You're mean to me, farmers. You are. You really are.
How many times have I heard this when you go, I'll just draw it out, and you think,
I know. God, allow me. Give me some leeway, you mean person. Honestly.
Sorry, has Blue got something prepared?
Oh no, I really don't, Bebby. Is this okay with you?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can.
Right. So
Hang on. Let's see if we can get you up on the screen here. Let me turn that thing off. Okay. I'll go to full screen mode. And there you go.
right. Okay. So this is my a graphical interpretation of what Bebby was saying yesterday about limits. So this is my proposed, not absolutely. Bebby will have to confirm it.
I
Proposed.
can't see anything on you. I've got YouTube up, but oh yes, I can. Sorry, it's
Great.
coming up now.
My
Yeah.
proposed. Go ahead.
What you probably want to do is actually click on Rumpus here in the general chat, and you can watch his live stream.
Yeah.
Right.
Because watching YouTube, you'll be behind.
Yeah, you'll see it that way
I
without the.
I was just checking, so as I do.
Elimination of the third term. So this is my title. I should have prepared this. I didn't realise. I thought I saw Blue was going to do something else today, so I didn't realise I was going to go at this. But elimination of the middle term, isn't it? Sorry, middle term. So the structure. Remember syllogisms. Correct me if I'm wrong again, Bebby. Syllogisms are a 3-line. Syllogisms are a 3-term argument.
No.
Oh, mate, oh God, get that wrong.
A proposition is made of two.
Oh, you're
terms.
right. You're right.
Argument
So
is
it's on
made of
3 lines.
Three propositions.
Three proposition
Three
arguments. Sorry,
propositions.
yes. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, term is a special.
Let's start as we mean to. Go on.
Yeah, indeed. That's fine, Bebby. You correct me as I go along. Yes, you're absolutely right, because the term has a very special meaning in logic, doesn't it, Bebby?
It does.
It's very well defined. So you have sort of one, and the first one is a premise. Second one, premise, and the second one is a premise. Let me just move this over a bit. And this won't take too long, Bluff Farmers, I promise. Premise 2.
Don't worry, mate, you're fine.
Thanks. And then you have a conclusion. I think, is that correct, Bebby?
Yes, that is very, very correct.
Thank you. Right, so the trick is, now imagine, so what these two premises, now when you're dealing with these all and some lark, the all ones, so this is the thing I wasn't really familiar with. I don't tend to I haven't researched Aristotelian logic very much, because I tend to regard it as a bit old hat, and I think there's this, you may have seen this other notation that Bebby's shown, and you may have seen another sort of looking at on Wikipedia things called this predicate logic, first order predicate logic, which has all these all and some and what looks a bit like gibberish, which I'm not great familiar with, but I think I regard that's something I should learn. And the Aristotelian stuff, I must admit, I regard as a bit old-fashioned and a bit useless. But well, not useless, going a bit far, but just not up to the job of doing anything really useful. Well, anyway, so
come on, get on with it. With all
sorry, I'm in trouble with everybody now. Bloody farmers, give me some hassle, no George. Right. Anyway, so that's the structure. That's what a syllogism is, and that's what, as I understand it, that's really all that Aristotle ever did. And the point is, if you mess around with all and some, you end up with something like, I don't know, is it 256 different combinations of these things? And they've all got names, and then there's the one that Bevy went on about on Bevs, which is this problem with the missing middle empty set, causes all sorts of problems. And it's something I was familiar with from a year or so ago. And but poor the Bevites, of course, didn't understand anything of what Bebby was saying. Even the basics of what negation was, I don't think they got the grip, let alone the complexity of his
more commentary.
Sorry.
I said.
Anyway, all right. I'm getting more hassle from George. Right. Anyway, so I'm going to try. So what these premises are, as I understand it. So what they said, particularly with these all, is you say something like this. So you say, so here we have an A in here, and here you have B, and you will have something that says premise 1 might be all B's are A's. In other words, you have the situation I've got on screen, that all the set of things that are B are contained within A. In other words, there's something like all humans are mammals or something. But you try and avoid using. I think you immediately start using words, you start bringing in your own inferences and trouble. So there's one relationship there. So we call that premise 1, and then you have. So that's premise 1 is over on the left hand side, and over here we have premise 2. But in fact, I'll just remove that. That's not quite what I want to do. And then your premise 2 might be C. So this second premise is saying that C, all C's are a B.
Correct.
And then what you then do, what Bebby says with this elimination of the middle term, is you then say, armed with these terms, hold on, and if I put this in then here, oh, look, all C's are in A. So the conclusion, so from 2 premises, B was in C, and whatever I had the other one was, B was in A, I can now say all C's are A. And this is a particular structure, this particular, as I say, the reverse combination that Aristotle did, but the one that I think Bebby was talking about yesterday in your presentation is, and then you can forget about this B term. You can then say, you don't need to worry about it anymore. You've now got a relationship between...
That's very nice, and that nicely illustrates it. Well done. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Bebby. That's very kind of you.
So you have eliminated the middle term.
Exactly.
The pink thing.
Exactly. And although I realised when you look at these arguments, I'm sure Blue and Farmer's Boy did as well, the procedure for doing what I've just done, I wasn't aware that was what it's called. Bebby obviously was. That seems to be what they argue. They say, I'm desperate, but they seem to have a special term for doing this, as though that's a crucial part of the process. Whereas we, I think, tend to think the objective of the exercise is to get a relationship between C and A. But Bebby, I think, because they're so involved, logicians like Bebby get so involved in the mechanism, they're thinking, I want to get rid of this B. I've got this thing I'm trying to get rid of here, and I've just got C and A. And so the conclusion here is that you've got a relationship between. So I didn't put it in here. So all A's, I think it was all A's are
all
B's
are
or
A.
something. All B's, sorry, all B's are A.
All
yes,
B's are A.
Thank you.
All C's are B.
All B's are A, and then all C's are B or what? I forgot what it is.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Right, and then the conclusion is that all A's.
No. All C's are A.
All C's. Sorry. Yes. Yeah. It's good job. It's like I can't. There's one thing I'm incapable of doing is typing and looking at the screen and thinking at the same time. So yes, good job. You're checking me here, Bebby. All C's are A. So there you go. So you see, we've used this B set as just a link between the B and the C and the A and the B. So we just let's go back to the start. Oh, I can't. Damn it! I have to put this over as I had it here before. So we're starting off. Should really have. So let's put that back to that. So we start. So we ended up with. Yes, what I should really say. Here's the conclusion down here. So we started off. So this was the first premise. This one here was premise 1. So this was premise 1. Bloody spell, you bastard! Oh, for Christ's sake!
Before
Shut
I
up,
lose,
farmers. Be quiet, farmers.
and before I lose track of it, shout out to Digital Demonic Davros for $5 Australian. Don't make me come in there and establish a datum in an arbitrary way that can make Rumpus start drawing in Tisking.
I'm getting hassle from people in the chat.
Yes, you're getting hassle from in here and out there. That's right.
Bloody hell. But anyway, I got Bebby to say like my diagram. Anyway, so I'll put up with that for a bit. So there we go. So this is the conclusion, not the premise. Stupid bastard. Someone's typing like crazy.
Sorry.
Conclusion.
Right. So there we go. So there we have the conclusion down here, and we've eliminated that middle term. Whereas I think people who are not familiar with logic will just say, well, when you've been described it verbally, and of course the thing is, you just tend to think, okay, I've ended up with this conclusion. But as I say, Bebby, and I hadn't heard this term before, this elimination, this middle term. But they think of it like that because it's key. Now, now I think Bebby, you were describing a 4 joint. Now, presumably, so if I create a new page, you were saying insert new page. So presumably, when you were talking about this 4-term problem, it's when someone does something like this and then says, "Oh, come here." Scroll down, you bastard. And then so then you have these two premises, but instead of this being B, this is D. And is then a different, so call that right. And so then you have 4 terms now, and so there's no way now of linking C to A because they don't share a common term. There's no way of linking. So this is like, I was going to draw another diagram, like saying, if you want, you can also think of it as saying, if I wanted to know how to get the position of London with respect to, say, Glasgow, but you didn't know that. Let's suppose you'd never heard of these places before. But I said I could get from London to Toaster, and I knew how to get from Toaster to Edinburgh, then I can eliminate. If I know the positions with those relative to, I can say, having been informed of the relationship between London to Toaster and Toaster to Edinburgh, then I can, having worked out the difference, I can then eliminate Toaster from my relationship, and then say I know how London relates to Edinburgh. But I had to have that shared term, which I can then eliminate subsequently. But presumably, Betty, would you agree? So what the problem was this 4 term you were describing, which is when you have, because in Bev's argument is because you get problems between all and a horizontal plane, you would end up with this situation I've got on screen now with 4 terms, but you don't have a relationship between, you don't have a common thing that you can then eliminate. Would that be correct, Bevy?
That's absolutely. Well, there was more wrong with the argument than that. There were many layers of falsity. But yeah.
Indeed. Yes, I'm just highlighting here the particular issue you highlight. One of the problems you highlighted with this 4-term thing, which people may not have picked up on. That was one of the fallacies in that argument. This is because when you highlighted, you said there's 4 terms. I thought, why are you making a big fuss about that? And you said your colleagues or something said, oh, that's wrong. It's got 4 terms in it. And I'm just highlighting here why it was a big red flag to you that there were 4 terms in there when you're trying to eliminate one. To get a relationship between A and C, you need that shared term with which there's a relationship, and I'm just sort of highlighting that. So I'm only dealing with a couple of points you've made, that's all.
That's exactly
I think so that bloody hell. What the hell?
Brian, what are you doing?
Sorry, I thought I didn't realize my mic would come open. I was looking for a sound to play, and all of a sudden my phone started yelling, "Get on with it," and I was very confused.
Right, so that's I think there are other things I wanted to talk about, but I must admit that was the first subject I wanted to point out, that because I think some people were saying yesterday they didn't quite pick up when Bebby was talking about the elimination of the middle term. There were some people who weren't quite sure what Bebby was saying, although they understood the argument, they understood the logic, but they didn't quite pick up, I think, all the nuances of Bebby's points. And I think if I do it graphically like this, I think it makes it a bit clearer. I do have other points, but I must admit I haven't prepared them. So I was going to try and I was going to try and draw the Bebby's graphically, the one that he did highlight the problem with this all and A. But I must admit I can't quite think of that on the fly. I might have to do it later or something, or Bebby might have to help me to this all horizontals and a horizontal, and the fact that you then got to show that all horizontals are parallel to all other horizontals, whereas a vertical or a horizontal is only perpendicular to a horizontal is only perpendicular to a vertical, and then you have to show that all the horizontals are parallel to one another, which is the missing middle bit that I think that Bebby was. I wish you'd change your name, Bebby. I can't cope with this all these B's.
I like it. I like it.
Do you mean we should just all be called Bruce?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Exactly.
That keep things simple.
That is a brilliant, very, very good point there. If anybody's not familiar with the Monty Python sketch, right, I think it's one of the funniest Monty Python sketches of all time.
Not sure about that.
Bruce's Bruce's philosopher sketch, if anybody wants to go and look at it, is absolutely hilarious. And the best bit is they go through. This is Bruce. It's all to do with philosophy. So very good actually, farmers, because it's about philosophy as well. Where they go through. Okay, right, you're ahead of me. Each one of these people who they an English professor type character in a sort of suit goes into this Australian university with them all dressed up as not quite sheep farmers, but sort of outback type with hats on and things. And one of them's the head of Wittgensteinian or something logic, and someone else is head of Aristotelian logic, and then there's someone else, and then so there's the third or fourth chapter, and he's also in charge of the sheep dip.
Sheep dip, yeah.
And it also has the classic thing, rules of the thing, no pufters, and every other rule is no pufters. It's just unbelievably funny. Anyway, so you've picked on one of my favourite sketches of all time there. Yes. So anyway, I may have a stab later then at trying to do what Bebby encapsulated in his fix, which so if you, I say I should have really thought about this and presented it where, well, in fact, actually, this one is analogous, I think, to the part of Bebby. If you agree, this is to part of what was wrong with because here we have D being horizontal and A being all horizontal. So you could think of this as being all horizontals. I'm probably going to make a cock up here, and B being, yeah, I think I'm going dangerous territory here actually. I may do this in secret or something first before I have a go at that one. But Debbie, if you want to give me a suggestion as to how to,
there was the all cats are fish lovers.
Yes, that was a good one. Yes, that was a really good example.
All cats are mammals, but all cats are animals, from which you erroneously conclude all animals are fish lovers.
That was a great one, because that demonstrates exactly the problem that I think was it all cats. What was it? All cats are. What was it?
All cats are animals.
All cats are animals. And the other one was all
cats are fish lovers.
All cats are fish lovers. And then 3, the conclusion, or C as I call it.
Conclude all animals are fish lovers.
Yes.
And right, so, and the problem is, of course, here you've inverted. What you've got there is the thing that you, this middle term here, you've got this one outside this one, rather than the wrong way around.
I think that's it.
And therefore, when you do this, you can't say you don't know where this area is out here. This blue area that's outside the B, because that could then be outside here, and therefore you have this area out here because it's round the wrong way. You don't know the relation. You need to know this inside that. So you need to, as Bebby said, you then need to reverse this. You need oh God, I can't remember the exact example now, but the point was the circles around the one where you didn't have one inside the other unless you reversed it as Bebby did. He then you can't say that because yes, although those two things are things the elimination is around the wrong way because you've got one set outside the other anyway. Oh God, you see, I need to think about this a bit.
Something like that. You want
something like that.
All cats, so let B be cats, A be animals. Then you want to get all cats. So the blue would be fish lovers. So you want the blue. Oh, we've lost it.
I'll bring it back up here. Yeah.
So you want the blue. Obviously, the pink's got to be inside the blue because all cats are fish lovers.
So if we make B here, we call that is that all cats are fish lovers?
No. The B, let B be cats. Let A be animals.
Oh right, sorry. Okay. In fact, I'll type it in to save the problem. So this is cats. Animals. Right, so and is this C animals? Let's say it's animals. And the other one over here is all cats are right. So A is fish lovers. So fish lovers, and this is cats here as well. So in fact, right. So that I think that describes the situation. So all cats are animals, are a subset of animals. All cats are a subset of fish lovers, and then you've then unfortunately. You can't then make the conclusion C, all animals are fish lovers, because you've got animals outside the cats thing. So if you then move this, whoops, if you move this over here, like that, you're going to get some animals outside that set. You can't come
That's
to that
right.
conclusion, as I described earlier.
You haven't ruled out the possibility that there are some animals that are not fish lovers.
Yeah. So you could come up with the conclusion all fish lovers are animals. So if you wanted to say, right, then
No,
you'd
you
eliminate.
can't. No, you can't. You can't even get that. There might be.
Oh, sorry, you're right.
aliens.
Sorry, absolutely right. Sorry. Yes, absolutely correct. Sorry.
There
Yeah.
might
Sorry.
be
Oops.
Martians that like.
Yeah. Sorry, mate. Shouldn't have said that. Yes.
There might be robots. There might be robots that like fish. They're not animals.
Yes, because you haven't. Yes, because the middle term. Yes, because we're not eliminate. Because you'd need to eliminate.
You've got a middle term, which is cats. Cats occurs twice.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So you would have
Um,
to say what you said, which was all cat. You would have to say all animals are cats or something.
Which is
You'd
what
have
I did in the presentation. I said, well,
Exactly,
if
this
you
is what
reverse
I'm
the
trying to
order
copy.
of the terms,
Exactly.
then we get a valid syllogism, which was
Yeah, so
the second fix.
Oh, sorry. All animals are fish lovers. Sorry.
Generally, the
Oh.
Venn diagrams work for the all. It doesn't work so well for no and some and other stuff. That's why you need to look the syllogism rather.
Oh,
The Venn
Jesus
diagrams don't really work so neatly for everything.
Indeed, they don't. Yes, I've cocked up that up. So please ignore the text I've written there. Yes, it doesn't. This is why you need to prepare stuff, obviously, as Bebby showed. Yes. Anyway, but basically, it does involve the Venn diagram. You've got to get them. You've got to have the eliminated item as being the eliminated item has to contain the thing you want the relationship with. So if you want cats, you have to make sure the thing you're eliminating is is within the other thing that you want, and then it can be eliminated. As I say, you remove that boundary. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to avoid. I think I have to prepare a bit more to make.
We can
further comments
work on it. I'm very impressed by
Yeah.
this diagram software. It's good.
Oh, indeed, it's my drawing program. It's the one that I do everything in.
Yeah, a quick shout
Yes.
out to Anamorphic Mind for $2. Asked the question: is Rumpus creating a pair of boobs again?
I do tend to
Over
do a
to
lot
you,
of
Rumpus.
that. It does seem to be my default mode of operation, I'm afraid. So,
This
I can-
guy has got a vivid imagination in that case.
He
I'm not
does.
seeing-
Yeah.
I'm
But
not
yeah,
seeing
perhaps it's not
blue.
my problem then. Yeah, perhaps it's not my problem.
It's sort of a blue and a green boob and
Come on, it's not as bad as Lindsay Harris though. I mean, he's really fixated on boobs
Oh God, yeah, yeah, they're all over the place.
and
Lindsay
bums.
Hess- That's an American politician, isn't it?
No,
It's a
Nice.
mad New Zealander.
yeah,
Oh,
Mad
right.
New Zealand flat earther who we watch every Saturday on Terry Stream.
And
Oh, right. Oh right. Oh, okay. He's not that mad one with all the infinity symbols and the 4 poles or something, is it?
yeah,
Oh my God, that moron! Right, okay.
Yep.
He keeps on claiming he gave a lecture to physicists and how he showed them to be, and he thinks zero is infinity or something. And oh Jesus Christ, that guy's absolutely, utterly unself-aware. That just extraordinary nutter. Yes.
Rumpus,
he's the one that has- Go ahead, please.
no, go ahead and finish, and then I got something.
He's the one that has crossing in opposite directions magnetic fields. Field lines.
Yeah, he's absolutely bonkers, and he thinks he's so clever. He's oh God.
There's a comment in the chat I want you guys to talk about from Clive Adams. He says the cat's analogy is different to the perpendicular in verticals to planes premises. And a shout out to John Rapp for 2 Australian. Anamorphic Mind. What?
Perhaps I ought to try that a little bit. Actually, I did say this was analogous to it here. Perhaps I ought to pursue this a little bit with Bebby's. Just to keep, I say I find it difficult to write, draw, and think at the same time. So if Bebby keeps an eye on me, if we could have perhaps a quick stab at the all horizontals one graphically, Bebby. So the premise one is we have all horizontal. So if we try for this, all horizontals. What's his argument again? Okay, let's write down in text again what his
I
argument
can't
is.
even see. It's sort of disappeared from the chat. It says Rumpus never listens. It will take months for him to realise it's wrong. Okay, I'll go with that.
Shut up. Bloody hell, I'm getting more abuse than usual here.
I can't see it. It was from Clive. What's his name? Was it?
Yeah, it's a little down from the one you were just reading.
Yeah, you need to click on my live thing, Bebby. Oh, jeez, Bebby.
It's a dozen to 15 comments up, and he says the cat's analogy is different to the perpendicular and verticals to planes premises.
Right, let's try and tackle that. So, Bebby, if you could bring up my graphic here by clicking on the live thing and watch stream, then perhaps we can have a quick go at it, and then we can formulate what Bevy.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Oh, you can. Right. So let's just type out what Bev's argument is. It says all horizontals. All verticals are perpendicular. That's it. All verticals are perpendicular to.
I should get up my presentation.
Yeah. Just copy your present. Yeah, the text in your presentation. You just type it out. Tell me what it is.
I'll read it out.
Yeah, read it out. Read it. Okay. Someone's trying to come in there. Is someone else trying to moan at me?
Yeah, it was me. George.
Yeah, George. What do you want to say?
I was just saying, all this gyrations on Bev is just so tiring. The thing is, basically what Bev is saying, is all verticals are perpendicular to a horizontal plane. And then all perpendiculars are parallel. And then from that, he concludes all verticals are parallel. Well, that's true, insofar as you're talking about a plane, in plane geometry. But the fallacy is, and always has been, is saying that all perpendiculars are parallel. That's not true for a general manifold, other than a plane.
Right, but I think, is it not interesting to have
any sort of warped surface? A perpendicular to a surface, we call those normals. Normals are not parallel to one another in general, and that's where his whole thing falls apart.
Yeah, but is it not interesting? He's presented a half-baked logical argument, and it's useful to attack it from a logical point of view.
Argument because it's one of his premises is false.
Well, no. I think all his premises are true. Actually, aren't they?
Perpendiculars are not.
Oh, the second premise, actually, all perpendiculars to a horizontal plane of vertical. That's
Yes, that's true. Yes,
false.
okay.
It's only the vertical that goes through the plumb line.
That's correct. Yeah, sorry. Okay, yeah, I remember now. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not true. When you're dealing with a plane. Now, if you're trying to put a plane above a spherical mass, then yeah, what you're saying is true. But I mean, the thing is, insofar as just talking about a plane, is you can.
Yeah, I think we all understand, George. That
vertical. If you define vertical as being aligned with a gravitational vector, force vector, then yeah, those normals are not parallel to one another.
Indeed, but that's not part. But I think it's useful to tackle his argument from the. Can you write out your? Can you just?
Just
post it in the. If you could post it in the chat. If you could post it in the chat, then I could copy it.
But he doesn't.
But just picking up on that point. The point is they've got what they think to be a logical argument to prove it. So anything George says, they will ignore. They say, "Oh, we've got logic on our side." But my point is, well, actually, regardless of anything else, logic is false. It's stunningly wrong.
We all know George. Sorry, George and I know that there's a problem with what the problem is, but it's good when they try and use it in a it's a graphic you've put there.
It's a graphic, I know.
Okay, I'll have to type it out.
No, wait. Just be patient.
Okay, we will.
What I have to do is I have to copy it into Word.
Okay.
Copy it into Word, and then for some reason it seems to sort of like it. Didn't like that. Oh yeah, it did. Right.
But Rumpus, if masses, like instead of a planet being spherical, if a planet was shaped like a infinite brick, then everything Bev says is true. But
Yeah,
Of
yes,
course,
but
masses aren't shaped that way.
yeah, but it's still interesting to highlight the particular area in the logic where he tries to present a logic. We know obviously from the physics of it that it's bollocks, but it is good to see where the flaw exactly is. I mean, it's good to get your logic sorted. So here we
Well, I
have.
don't know. His logic is based on the fact that masses are shaped like a brick.
Well, no, we know. We're just looking at the logic,
Go ahead.
George. We're just looking at the
Yes.
logic he's deploying, and where, and also it's useful to say if what he's saying was true, what would be the extra line you have to put in to make it true? So this is more of a logical argument. It's obviously a bit abstract. We all obviously know that the Earth's a globe, and we could all go home now, if we're prepared to go with that. But
yeah,
it's
I think
useful.
if we hate logic, we can all sort of walk away from this. But some of us like logic, and as I say, they are coming up with what they believe to be an absolutely watertight logical argument. And my point as well, regardless of anything else, that argument is not an argument. It's not valid. Rumpus, I've got all perpendiculars to horizontal. Can you see this? It's in
Yeah,
the
can you see it?
live
I've put
chat.
it in. I've put it in.
Brilliant. So perpendicular horizontal plane, that's cats. Parallel to each other is fish lover. Vertical is animal. So whoever said there's no analogy between the two arguments is just wrong. That's what I say.
Right, and the conclusion that he had then was all verticals are parallel, was it? No, all horizontals are parallel, wasn't it? That was it. All horizontals.
No, all verticals are parallel to each
Oh,
other.
was it all verticals are parallel? Sorry, I can't
Yeah.
remember what it was.
It works for horizontals as well. But
It does. But I thought he was keen on horizontals. Yes, I mean, I couldn't remember which one it was. I thought it was horizontal.
He gave both. He gave horizontals. He had
I
actually
think he tends to-
conjunction.
Yeah, I think he talks about horizontals. I'm going to put in horizontals as parallel. I think that's what. Oh, but okay. We've got vertical and
No, you'll fail if you do that. It's going to go horribly wrong. I wouldn't do that.
Okay. We won't do that. Then we won't do that.
Oh, he says all verticals are parallel, but of course, it should be saying all verticals to a horizontal plane are vertical. He eliminates that stipulation and tries to extend it to a sphere.
He doesn't try and extend it to a sphere. That's exactly what he doesn't do.
He's using that as proof that verticals on the Earth are parallel.
Yes, but he doesn't extend it to a sphere.
Of course,
Yeah, the logic of that argument, if it is valid, will stand on its own. We don't need to mention the word sphere, but it's not valid.
Exactly.
It's invalid for the same reason the cat's fish lovers argument is invalid.
Yeah,
exactly.
From a purely logical point of view.
Yeah, so we're just trying to tackle the logic. He's trying to deploy logic.
All right, go for it.
Okay, right.
Quiet.
So if let's try and do this in this Venn diagram thing, because I think we'll then end up with this four. Because I think you were saying that we'll end up with 4 terms, won't we, Debbie?
Sorry.
We'll end up with 4 terms, and if we deploy this argument, we'll end up with four things, won't we?
No.
Okay,
that is the fallacy of illicit minor. So you've got 3 terms.
Yep.
Cats, animals, fish, or perpendiculars to a horizontal plane. That occurs twice. It's the first term in both premises. Can you see that?
Yep.
We've got the middle term. We've got the middle term.
Okay, sorry. Right. Okay, yeah. As I said, I can't think and draw and type at the same time.
However, it's the fallacy of the illicit minor.
Okay, so it's not. So this diagram I've got up here is not relevant. Okay, let's try and do it. Well, I'm going to try and do this graphically. In other words, is what I'm trying to do. Perhaps it no. Okay, perhaps it doesn't matter then. Okay, perhaps it doesn't. Okay, perhaps.
Bev, over on the other server, I can see Bev's discussing the very same presentation. God knows what they're going to be saying.
So let me just re-familiarise myself with this. All perpendiculars to a horizontal plane. Okay, all perpendiculars to a horizontal plane are vertical. Therefore, all verticals are parallel. And this, we know that proposition 2 is incorrect. Is false.
Even if it were true, it were true, the argument would still not be valid, and that's the point.
Exactly. Now, I want to just tackle it. I know you've done this before yesterday, Bevy, so sorry if I'm repeating what you're doing. So, because I was just trying to do this graphically, and I'm just wondering if I can.
Yeah.
So
it'll be the
all
same. It'll be the same as you did with the cats and animals fish one.
Oh, right. Okay. So it's right. Yes.
It's identical.
Yes, indeed it is. Okay. Yes. Yes. That's right. Yes. That's what I'm getting confusing myself. Yes. I'm getting mixed up between two points you made. Yes. It's back to this one where we've got it round the wrong way. You haven't basically. You've got to demonstrate that all. But the thing is, it doesn't define. Well, you haven't defined vertical. So I thought see, the problem here is you haven't defined the relationship of vertical in this particular thing, have you? You haven't said what vertical is. You've got to describe explicitly.
You don't have to say it. I mean, it all, it's just, it can be any term you like. It could be animals, fish lovers, cats. It could be insects, spiders.
Oh, true. Oh, okay.
Red things. You don't.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. So yes, it's a problem with okay.
It's
so
exactly
again,
if you think the cats, animals, fish lovers argument is invalid, which it is, right? And this is also invalid because you can just replace perpendiculars to horizontal plane with cats, parallel to each other with animals, and vertical with fish lovers. That's the beauty of logic. You can put any set of terms you like in.
Yes.
As long as you respect the order and it's invalid, you'll get an invalid argument.
Yeah, sorry I'm being a bit slow here, Bebby. Yes, again, I can't draw, type, and think at the same time, and talk to people. Yes, so in other words, right. So the reason this fails is because all points on horizontal are vertical. You're gonna have to go through it slowly. I can't. It's no good. I can't draw, think, and do it at the same time. So the reason. So although we know that the premise 2 is wrong, you're saying it's wrong logically because you can replace. Go ahead, George.
Just keep what you have there, those 3 lines, and put 3 lines below it and replace, as Bebby said, perpendiculars and cat lovers and cats and stuff. Now replace your perpendiculars, horizontal plane and vertical with the cat lovers, cat.
I was going to avoid doing that, but okay, it might make it clear to me.
And compare the two. Yeah.
So all cats are. In fact, I could just copy this, couldn't I? When we had it.
Actually, why not change it a bit at a time so we can focus on truth versus validity?
Okay, cats.
All cats. No, don't put it back. Put it back, please.
Okay.
All cats are parallel to each other. No.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay.
We want all cats are parallel to each other.
Yep.
All cats are vertical.
Okay. Yeah, this makes it clearer. Yes, I was going to avoid doing this because I didn't want to thought about me a bit bore everybody.
All
I was going to try and jump.
Vertical. Therefore, all verticals are parallel to each other. No.
Sorry.
Remember, the cats is the middle term. You can get rid of it. So you had it.
I know. Give me a moment.
Right, this is correct. All cats are parallel to each other. All cats are vertical. Therefore, all verticals are parallel to each other. That is a perfectly valid syllogism, though not sound, obviously, because cats are not vertical. Well, they could be vertical. The point is that illustrates that in logic we don't care about the truth value of the premises.
Yep. Which is another thing I wanted to emphasise today. So it's great that I'm really pleased with doing this.
Just looking at the relationship between the terms in the argument and how they generate the conclusion, or not, and that again is totally invalid.
Yes, right, okay. I've caught up. Yes, I didn't want to go through this, but now in fact I think actually it's been more useful to do this as George was said. I was trying to jump it, but actually it makes it clearer now, yes, for everybody that indeed it's got the same problem we had above, as you've been trying to say, Bebby, for the last 10 minutes. That it's again we've got a superset. We've got the set round that I originally illustrated as the problem up here, that it's round the wrong way. And therefore, even if you do accept these premises, which was the thing I meant about when I started this, I was saying how the logician is only worrying about the engine of the logic and don't care about whether the premises are true or not. This operation he's done here by eliminating this middle term, as we did with the thing up here, and I was showing how the animals then falls outside and it doesn't work. Bebby's making the point here that this, even if these premises were true, which they're not, but we don't care about that. We're in logician mode at the moment. We're in Bebby mode. It doesn't work, even if these 2 premises were true. That conclusion does not follow. Even if I were to say those 2 things were true, the conclusion does not follow because of that problem we had up here that I was illustrating with the animals being outside the cats, or whichever way around it was. We had the cats outside the animals. It doesn't work. Whew. Yes, in fact, it was useful. Yes, I was trying to avoid actually doing a substitution like this, line by line, but actually, it's actually been more useful to do like that. So yes, I think it's excellent. So yes, this demonstrates two principles. You don't care about whether the premises are true or not, but we're just caring about the logic with the conclusion, and even the conclusion, the mechanism, the logical mechanism you're trying to employ doesn't work for the conclusion they've come up with. And of course, we know that. So there are two problems. Well, and obviously, we don't accept that all perpendiculars to horizontal plane are vertical. That we know this not to be true. Proposition 2. We know that's not to be true. We know that by looking at auto levels pointing at one another, that the horizontals are not parallel to one another, and the verticals are not parallel to one another. But even if they were, this argument doesn't work as an argument. Whew.
I have a quick question for Betty before I go here. In premise 2 there, if you reverse the order, then it would be a true conclusion, would it not, if you said all verticals are cats?
Someone said the same thing in the chat. I can't find it now. Yeah, if you reverse the order, and that was actually my second fix in the original presentation.
Yes,
You get
indeed,
all
exactly.
verticals are cats. All cats are parallel. Then all verticals are parallel to one another. That is now a valid argument. But of course,
so all verticals
it's still utterly false because all cats are not parallel, nor are verticals cats.
Yeah, so
But
so we've just put in,
and that was my
that
was my second fix.
Indeed. So this is point 3. So we've got 3 problems. So this is the fix for it. So we had the proposition not being bollocks, but then we had the actual logic of the argument being incorrect due to the Venn diagram thingy, which we've now fixed. We've now had to reverse it, all verticals cats, and as Baby says, this is now a valid argument. Valid. But it's not sound because the premises are just complete bollocks. But it's a valid argument.
Yes.
And of course, they apparently, I think Bebby was saying to me earlier today, they didn't understand. Or was it someone was telling me? I think it was you, Bebby, that they didn't understand the difference between a premise. I've forgotten the point now. The difference between the premises in an argument and the logic and the conclusion, as I was describing.
They didn't understand that, and actually, Bev went on to talk about arguments. Yeah, that's a very common mistake when you first teach people logic. They think of arguments as being bad things where people are sort of bad mouthing each other. Like we had a bad argument, husband and wife had an argument, right? For a logician, an argument is just simply the two premises and a conclusion. So Bev went on about, well, we don't have arguments, we just have discussions. And that was my facepalm moment. That was when I turned off.
Yeah, he's an idiot, a first order idiot.
Well,
by the way,
I don't like to call anyone an idiot.
Well, it's very, very kind of you, Bev, Bebby.
He is,
but
yeah.
but I'm afraid he is an idiot. And I think I saw he did a presentation on this drop thing. Blue and I were having a bit of a dispute, I think, a week or so ago, about whether or not he was trying to deceive us. I think Farmer's Boy was in the cynic camp. I think Blue was as well. But he did a presentation the day afterwards in which he did not understand drop. He does not understand that drop is the difference between a curved level and a horizontal. He just, in his head, there cannot be anything separate. He only understands drop to be a change in elevation, which we were discussing, if you remember, at length, whether he did understand that.
That's if he's being genuine or it's all part of the game.
No, the next day, it was quite clear that he did not, if you bother to look at it, perhaps you haven't, it was absolutely clear to him that drop can only mean a change in elevation. He went on and on and on about it, and he said to make it clear, he said, drop is only a change in elevation. He doesn't understand the use of the word drop, with which we're familiar, and we keep on banging on about, which is the difference between level and horizontal. He does not understand that term. And indeed, today...
I'm willing to place money that he does.
Okay. Yesterday,
I beg to disagree with you, farmers. Bev is certifiably stupid.
And for instance, yesterday, he did a thing, an amazing piece in his a thing about he was looking at the Eratosthenes. He was looking at a video doing the Eratosthenes experiment, and in that thing, there was a diagram like this. In which someone drew in a well, and like this, and he said, and there was a light ray coming in here, so there was the sun over here, and he was saying, oh, bugger it, damn thing. And he was saying, look, and this was supposed to be the well at Aswan or Cyrene.
Oh yeah, yeah.
At Aswan, and he's saying, how can you draw a well on its side?
Oh,
How
good
can you
grief.
do that? You see, this guy does not understand that down is towards the centre of the earth. And I asked him this 30 times. Another guy, I think SE Montreal, didn't understand that this you bastard.
Rumpus, a lot of it is them just intentionally not getting it. It's not always an issue of stupidity. Montreal and I had a discussion about the Antikythera mechanism, to which I informed him that the way the Antikythera mechanism is actually orientated, it's a geocentric globe that you're seeing the progression of the constellations around. And his response wasn't to have the discussion about that. It was to say, "Are you telling me that the Antikythera mechanism isn't an awesome, beautiful machine?" They know that they know when they're in a trap. They know when they've screwed up, and they
No,
do
they
anything
don't.
to get away from it. They're not
No,
that.
they don't.
They're not.
They don't. I think it's just a misconception on their part. And they also didn't. I mean, this is just amazing. He didn't understand that basically when he oh, bugger thing. He didn't understand that the angle here of a block. There was the thing here. He didn't understand that this angle here was the same. Whoops. That the angle that this formed in here, this angle, the shadow, because this is a shadow I'm trying to draw here, and this angle theta here, we'll call it A, was the same angle as this angle between that and this.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, this angle here would be the same as this angle here. I mean, it is just extraordinary. And this guy doesn't understand why you would draw this well at this angle. So even if you dispute this, he doesn't even understand the model that he's arguing against. To him, he thinks, how can you be saying this? You can't really mean that. You must mean something else. And that's because he doesn't understand that down is towards the center of the earth. Anyway, so that's so he really is stupid. He doesn't understand what down is. He doesn't understand whatever was the thing I started off this with about him, a drop. He doesn't understand what we mean by drop. Right. Anyway, so that was the point I just wanted to make on that.
Just a quick comment, Rumpus. I have to leave, but it's a damn good thing you physicists are not in the well drilling business, because how in the world do you expect any well to hold water if you're going to tip it on its side?
Exactly, be pouring out here. Yeah, I mean, this be coming out of. They'll be going, oh dear, ooh.
Well, I'll catch you later.
It's a daisy error. Oh no, all those Egyptians are going.
Hang on, I thought when they're drilling for oil, they don't necessarily drill vertically down.
Usually they do.
Yeah, but they don't have to. They can drill at angles, you know.
They can indeed.
I believe sometimes they'll even drill at angles because they know they're in a location where they can't actually drill directly down into the field for whatever reason. So let's go to the edge of the field, drill down, and then drill across.
Yeah, they do a lot. Yeah, they did a lot of that. I mean, that one. I think that one they did in that one that had the Gulf of Mexico disaster. I think part of that was drilling to the side.
Yes.
Deepwater Horizon was a horizontal well.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
There you go.
So that's great. So in fact, I was trying to avoid going through the laborious thing of replacing it separately, but in fact that has turned out to be in fact better, because it's demonstrated the other principle I described at the start that Bebby reinforced, which is logicians do not care about the terms; they only care about you just assume the premises are true or whatever, then you get on with trying to use basing on those things, what you can then do with them to get up with the conclusion. Obviously, you could have another million premises in here, then you can have lots of logic of ands and ors and goodness knows what between the premises, and then you finally come up with the conclusion. And the logician is only concerned with what you do in this section here. This the logic section, if you in here. That's all they worry about in there. And but I think it's material logic. I think, Bebby, is it not? Then you do try and say, well, okay, let's have a stab at trying to make determine whether these premises are true or not, and then is that not a whole? Presumably there's a whole different section. That's not formal logic. Formal logic is the logical ands and ors and implications.
Yeah,
that
it's
go in this section.
you're just concerned to see whether the conclusion follows or is a consequence of or is caused by the premises. That's it.
But sorry, but material logic. I'm just saying. But material logic. Do you not then try and validate your premises as well?
No, I've looked at this term. I've looked at this term material logic because somebody else used it. Can't remember. Oh yeah, paper organist used that term, and I wasn't familiar with it. And I looked it up. It's that is a more recent innovation in logic. Jacques Maritain, the French Catholic philosopher, I think introduced that, claiming it had a medieval antecedent. But no, material logic is not a thing.
Okay, I mean, I looked it up on Wikipedia and I found it. And I thought I hadn't heard of it either. But okay, that's great. Okay, because I mean, yes, how do you? The point about premises is that there's no justification for them. They are assumed to be what they say.
Well, what you do now, what you do is you say, well, is premise one true? Now, premise one in the very original argument was that all perpendiculars to the same plane, right, are parallel to each other. Now, you can prove that with a further sort of under syllogism or pre-syllogism, and you'd use Euclid for that because Euclid proceeds on the same sort of logical ground. So rather than saying, well, is the premise true or false, you say, well, what further argument proves that premise?
And of course,
then if you have questions about the premises of the sub-argument, you have a sub-argument, and then it keeps going on until you reach something that's sort of blindingly obviously true.
Well, the difference is, of course, this one is a geometrical argument, so which is done by definition.
Not an argument. It's a geometrical assumption which can be justified by a geometrical argument.
Yes, indeed. But the thing about this term here, this can only be done by observation in the real world. Euclid does not talk about vertical. It's not a geometric thing. It's a physics thing. And this can only be determined by observation in the real world. So
that was the point I made in the very end of the presentation. First of all, you have to define what vertical means. And,
exactly.
Let's say we mean, well, it is the direction of a plumb line, a plumb line. There are many plumb lines. And then you've got it. So,
So a vertical is defined by a real world, a posteriori thing. It's not derived from.
It's defined by an observational.
About the real world.
Correct.
In the real world. That's the difference between the first one, the first premise. Well, actually, the horizontal part is also actually I'll ignore that for a moment.
It should. The original version had all perpendiculars to the same plane, and that's the word "same" is really, really important because if the perpendiculars are perpendicular to different planes, different horizontal planes, then it doesn't work. It's not geometrically true.
And that's the problem.
Yeah, because of course
that's precisely the problem.
And of course. I'll show the diagram here that Bev absolutely hates and always blocks me from showing, which is going to be part of my rect present.
Rumpus, the whole thing comes down to the fact that you cannot ascertain the shape of the Earth by pure geometry or pure logic.
Correct.
You have to make an observation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's right. The first premise you can do, well, the one with horizontal you can't because that is, oh God. Bloody hell, what's I done with my thingy? Here we go. Right, so part of my this is the document I'm going to be doing on my rect thing, and here's the diagram that they just absolutely cannot cope with. This one here, Bev always edits this out, which of course shows I think actually Blues are going to probably Blue's going to do something else in a minute. I think is in his part of his thing. That obviously we have all these horizontals because down is towards the center of the Earth.